From high above, a devastated battlefield stretches endlessly, corpses strewn across the rocky cliffs. In the midst of this carnage, three martial masters gather: Abbot Hyunjin of the Shaolin sect, Guanzhong of the manhwa sect, and Hong Tian of the Namgun clan. Their eyes are locked on a lone survivor, their ultimate enemy, Chun Hajin, the heavenly demon, whose long black hair and glowing crimson eyes radiate death itself. Exhausted yet unbroken, Chun Hajin turns toward them and coldly says that only they remain. The three leaders steel themselves for battle. Abbot Hyunjin shouts for his allies to charge, and Chun Hajin hurtles forward like a storm of killing intent. Hyunjin intercepts his attack but is violently thrown back, spitting blood, his face twisted with rage as he curses the damned heavenly demon. He retaliates with the 1,000 Buddha palm, but Chun Hajin slips through effortlessly, vowing that the abbot will be the first to fall. Desperate, Hyunjin calls for aid, and both Guanzhong and Hong Tian unleash techniques of their own. The Plum Blossom Flash and 10,000 Thunders, forcing Hajin on the defensive. The clash shakes the battlefield and wounds tear into Hajin's body, staining his robes with blood. Sensing an opening, Abbot Hyunjin appears behind him and strikes with deadly finality, wishing Hajin peace in the next life. But with inhuman speed, Chun Hajin tears through the attack and rips the spine from the abbot's body, silencing him forever. The abbot's lifeless corpse hits the ground, and Chun Hajin holds his severed head high, declaring his death and demanding the next challenger. Shock freezes the remaining masters. "Monster," they whisper, paralyzed by the scene. Hong Tian retreats, barking at Guanzhong to escape. Hajin lunges, mocking Guanzhong with sinister laughter, asking if he has chosen his grave. As tension builds, Guanzhong unleashes his Rain of 10,000 Flowers technique, and Hajin recalls a fleeting memory of peace beneath blossoming petals, a moment from a life that once had meaning. He whispers to himself that he cannot die here, then ignites his killing intent, summoning the fifth form of the demonic spear sword. With one devastating strike, the black demon dragon tears Guanzhong apart. Guanzhong dies with a scream as Hong Tian strikes from the shadows with his transcendent supremacy. Hajin admits the ambush is painful but mocks Hong Tian by saying it felt no worse than a bug bite. Enraged, Hong Tian attacks again, only to have his fingers severed and his face slashed open. His fury erupts as he curses Hajin, calling him a dog of demonic cults, yet desperation fuels his final strike. Using speed and deception, Hong Tian materializes behind Hajin and plunges his sword through his back, screaming for him to finally die. At that life-shattering instant, Chun Hajin recalls the faces of Yunhua and her younger sibling, their lanterns glowing in the night. "I see it clearly now," he murmurs. "It's time to end this." With burning resolve, Hajin drives his own blade through his body, the steel piercing both his chest and Hong Tian's. Though mortally wounded, Hajin decapitates Hong Tian in a single motion. Hong Tian dies with the horrific realization this was not a mere demon, this was the divine demon himself. Slaughtering the 9 great sects with his own hands, Chun Hajin lies dying, whispering the names Yunhua and her younger brother, wondering if vengeance was enough. His spirit drifts, recalling the start of his bloody journey. Endless wandering, aimless killing, his sword his only companion. Meeting Yunhua gave his life meaning, her warmth. Her words, her struggle for her siblings taught him there was more than slaughter. She became his reason to live, but her death returned him to vengeance. For 15 years, he walked the path of blood and loneliness until revenge was complete. Finally, sword slipping from his tired hands, the divine demon. Chun Hajin collapses in the sunrise, yet as his eyes close, they open again to another world. Suddenly, his consciousness jolts awake at a deafening noise, and he wonders if he has fallen into hell. A woman's voice echoes, urging that her son inherit the secret arts of the Yoemwa clan, because the rightful heir, her elder brother, can no longer practice martial arts due to a tragic accident. Awareness returns. He's not in hell. He's in someone else's body. Bewildered, he looks around. A young boy stands, eyes blazing with fury, objecting forcefully. The main family arts cannot pass outside their bloodline. His brother is still alive, after all. A girl steps forward too, adding that the grandfather's arts belong solely to the Yoemwa clan. Even if her brother cannot train, The woman is not from the maternal line, so she has no right. He, inhabiting Hwa Mujin's body, listens silently as the children quarrel. The man in front of him sighs. If they can't reach an agreement, he proposes a wager. Given the siblings' dire poverty, barely enough to eat, he suggests that in a duel, they bet the entire secret arts of the Yeomhwa clan. Winner takes all. He asks their opinion on this proposal. The boy immediately objects. How can they accept such a challenge when his brother hasn't even begun training due to his madness? The girl sees it as a trick. Frustrated, he, still in Hwa Mujin, asks them who he is supposed to be. The children answer hesitantly, leaving him space to declare for himself. With a sardonic smile, he speaks, I am Chun Hajin, whom the world calls the divine demon. The children freeze, baffled. The woman scoffs, Who are you supposed to be again? Chun Hajin repeats, louder, I am Chun Hajin, the divine demon, second son of the Shamwa Merchant Guild. The man laughs mockingly, saying this claim is no more credible than declaring himself king of the realm. Meanwhile, the sibling's elder brother's condition worsens. The woman steps forward. His madness fits his condition. Mental disorder, screaming fits, violent outbursts, grows worse by the day. The head of the Chunghwa Merchant Guild, Buto Yan, remarks that the fate of this family is sealed if the eldest son remains in this state. He notes that silence now will be taken as agreement to the duel. Finally, he declares, the duel will be held on the 5th day of next month. After Daewoo and his companions leave, Jinmu's little sister, Su-yeon, anxiously asks what they will do. She reminds her brother that he has never even held a sword properly. Chun Hajin, suppressing his amusement, asks if she was referring to him. The thought that he, once the divine demon feared across the central plains, had never swung a sword is laughable to him. Eager to call upon his immense inner energy, he instantly attempts to summon his ki. And then, the truth dawns. His body is utterly empty. No ki, no martial foundation. Instead, what he feels horrifies him. Brittle bones, frail muscles, a body weaker than a common peasant's. His sister screams and begs him to stop this madness, but Jinmu's younger brother scolds her for insulting their older brother, demanding that she apologize. Refusing, she runs off crying, shouting that their parents had died because of him. Hajin stares silently, unsettled by this broken family situation. Alone, he recalls his death. The suffocating agony of being pierced through the heart, the revenge he finally completed. He had closed his eyes upon vengeance fulfilled. Yet here he stands, inhabiting this broken shell. The resemblance of these children to Yunhwa and her younger sibling gnaws at him, though he dismisses the thought of madness. His mind is sharp. This is no delusion. Soon after, a servant named Ma Seok rushes to him, addressing him as young master, and scolding him for straining his body. To Chun Hajin's confusion, Ma Seok carefully explains, this is Yumu Jinmu, heir of the declining Yumu clan, once prophesied to be a martial genius sought after by countless sects. Yet 17 years ago, everything changed. Through Ma Seok's words, Hajin learns the truth. At the age of 6, Jinmu had challenged his cousin, Jang Daewoo, in a duel of bare fists without internal energy. During the fight, the duel's rules were twisted. Daewoo struck Jinmu with the 7 wounds fist, a forbidden technique whose after effects ravaged body and spirit. Jinmu was crushed to the ground, his meridians destroyed, his dantian crippled. That single betrayal left him a cripple, worsening into madness. And Daewoo? He was barely punished, shielded as the nephew of the clan head and heir to the Chunghwa Merchant Guild, one of the richest guilds in the Central Plains. He received only a scolding while Jinmu's family fell into ruin. Jinmu's father drowned in debt searching for a cure. His mother died of illness and despair. A few years later, his father followed her to the grave, leaving behind a family ruined by tragedy. Rumors spread. An ill-bred son devoured his parents, leaving only scraps of a clan. Now, only Su-yeon and her younger brother remain with him. Chun Hajin, piecing it together, clenches his fists in grim realization. Daewoo destroyed Jinmu's foundation. His so-called madness was simply the price of that betrayal. And the pathetic injustice of Jinmu's father, who spared Daewoo, disgusts Hajin to the core. By Ma Seok's timeline, Hajin realizes 30 years have passed since his own death at the hands of the 9 great sects. His reincarnation is no delusion. It is reality. He decides there is nothing left of his past life to cling to. Yunhwa and her family are gone. His enemies are already corpses. What remains are these broken children, Soo-young and her brother, who remind him of the life he once longed for. For their sake, he resolves to walk forward once more, but Daewon still awaits him in the duel. To even face him, Hajin must rebuild martial arts from nothing. He attempts cultivation, but when his energy gathers into his body, an unbearable agony surges like fire through his veins. He loses consciousness immediately, collapsing. The clan elders rush to him, Elder Joe and clan head Yumu Baekseon, whispering venomously that death may finally claim the mad heir. But then his pulse surges with unexpected vitality. Against all odds, his body has improved. When Hajin awakes, he demands an explanation. Reluctantly, the elders reveal the truth. This body bears a rare constitution known as the pure heavenly martial body, a vessel chosen by the heavens, born to walk the righteous path. A body utterly incompatible with demonic arts. Should he attempt to cultivate them, the backlash could kill him. Chun Hajin can only laugh in bitterness. Of all the constitutions the heavens could curse him with, they chose this. A body destined to reject his demonic path. And the duel is approaching swiftly. Yet despite the agony and betrayal surrounding him, Hajin grits his teeth with familiar defiance. So be it. If heaven mocked me with this body, then I will defy even heaven itself. Chun Hajin, now living as Yumu Jinmu, rubs his temples, silencing Ma Seok with a cold command. Quiet, your voice is giving me a headache. He then orders a sword to be prepared for the coming duel. But Ma Seok stumbles in protest. A sword? With what money? Their family can barely afford their next meal. All their funds are already swallowed by the loan sharks of Bang-o's room, whose interest bleeds them deeper into ruin. Jinmu scoffs at their pitiful state, a fallen clan drowning in debts. Such weakness disgusts him. Yet, he also sees the first problem he must solve. Since we're already up to our necks in debt, what harm is there in borrowing more? He muses, his eyes gleaming with dangerous intent. Despite Ma Seok's protests, Jinmu sets off, leaving a note to the clan elders about his short outing. In the Yumu residence, clan head Baekseon fumes at the news. While Elder Joe shrugs it aside, certain Bang-o's room will chase him away. Both fail to imagine the storm Jinmu is about to cause. At the den of Bang-o's room, Jinmu arrives brazenly, announcing, Yumu Jinmu has come to borrow money. The guards laugh at him, mocking his name, treating him as trash. But Jinmu's piercing eyes fix on a figure approaching, vice leader Ma Jongbo. When Jinmu repeats his request to borrow, Ma Jongbo smirks and welcomes him in as a valued customer. Inside, Ma Seok trembles, whispering dark rumors. That one executioner of Bang-o's room once split a man's chest open in a single strike using the fearful black hand annihilation technique. But Jinmu brushes him off coldly. So what? The trap soon closes. Ma Jongbo orders Jinmu's capture, sneering about the clan drowning in debt, mocking his dead parents who spent their lives trying to cure their mad son. For a moment, Jinmu feels a memory surface. His own parents, his own tragedy. But it vanishes. His eyes harden, his voice colder than steel. I never had parents. The thugs rush in. Chun Hajin moves. A guard lunges, but Jinmu twists around him like a python, snapping his arm apart with merciless precision. The man howls, scarred by the seemingly fragile body's ruthless efficiency. The loan sharks attack together, yet Jinmu glides through them using street-born survival martial arts. Swift strikes, evasive movements, calculated blows. In this frail shell, he cannot battle head-on. But technique, deception, and killing instinct? Those are his weapons. Chopsticks in hand, Jinmu faces Ma Jongbo's sword with disdain. I don't have a blade, so these will do. The hall falls silent as metal scrapes against wood and the chopsticks hold. Shock spreads as Heijin presses forward, countering a powerful strike with precise movements, landing clean blows one after another. Ma Jongbo rages, calling him a rat, swearing he'll crush him with true martial mastery. He unleashes the terrifying Black Hand Annihilation art, Twin Celestial Moon Massacre. The air trembles with deadly intent, but Jinmu smiles. You thought I was playing? The only ones playing were you effortlessly. He dodges, counters, and crushes Ma Jongbo to the ground. Gasping, the vice leader snarls about the consequences, about how Jinmu doesn't know the forces he's angering. But Hajin is relentless. Expressionless, he leans closer. Threats are useless. Tell me what I came to hear and you might live. Under pressure, literally staring down death, Ma Jongbo breaks. He confesses the truth. The Chunghwa Merchant Guild is behind the scheme. Their plot was simple: bury the Yumu clan in bottomless debt, seize their lands, and crush their lineage. Bang-O's room was just a tool, a pawn of the Seoman faction, an unorthodox alliance hiding behind shadows. Hajin chuckles darkly. Rats, all of you. He demands more loans, forcing paperwork under their shaken hands. When Ma Seok questions why anyone would lend to them without collateral, Hajin explains coldly. The collateral was the clan's ancestral lands all along. The hall falls silent as the dice roll across the table. Hajin twirls them through his fingers, eyes gleaming with demonic amusement. It has been a long time since he has felt this alive. Breaking men, breaking schemes, drowning enemies in their own greed. This is his arena. Now, a chest of gold is hauled in before Chun Hajin. Now, Yumu Jinmu. 300 nyang. He inspects each coin, the shine reflecting in his crimson eyes. This will do. Snapping the lid closed, he tells Ma Seok to stop whining and carry it out. As they leave, Jinmu warns the moneylenders, record today's loan in your ledgers. When I'm finished with your friends in the Chunghwa Merchant Guild, I'll return every coin. Mark my words, if you ever bleed the common people dry, your fate will be far worse. The men bow, nervously submitting to his threat. Vice leader Ma Jongbo curses under his breath after they leave, spitting venom that time will show which side collapses first. Back at the Yumu residence, clan head Baekseon notices blood, demanding what happened. Jinmu brushes it off. Borrowing money leaves its marks. Nothing more. He explains that warriors must be well fed if the clan is to survive. When accused of stealing, he flatly insists the debt is recorded in Bang-O's room's own books, and with a sharp order, he tells the elders to concern themselves only with feeding and clothing his siblings. His authority leaves both men shaken. Was this madness or something far greater? Later at the family memorial altar, Jinmu bows. I never had parents, so I don't know the right words. But you needn't worry anymore. I'll handle the debts. I'll protect the children. Rest easy. His voice hardens. As for Zhang Daiwung, when our duel comes, I'll break his neck with his very sword. Soon after, the clan warriors groan as they haul immense crates into the yard. Inside lie bizarre weapons, training swords of 30, 48, and 66 kilograms each. Jinmu examines them with grim satisfaction. Ma Seok nearly faints at the sight. Why order such abominations? He cries. Jinmu answers coolly. What else is a sword used for? You swing it. Gripping the lightest, the 30-kilogram blade, he strains and nearly collapses. His frail body trembles. He curses aloud, furious at his weakness, but refuses to stop. Finally, with both hands and sheer will, he lifts it, panting in defiance. I will not give up here. He orders Ma Seok to stop staring and fetch more meat meals every day. With just 15 days left until the duel, Jinmu reflects on his cursed pure heavenly martial body. His old demonic path is impossible. There is only one option left, the 9 swords of solitude. A sword technique he once mocked, deeming its ideals childish and its philosophy incomplete. But right now, it is the only path forward. Thus begins his merciless training. He swings the blade of advancement, embodying an unstoppable march forward. He smashes with the style-shattering blade, born to break any guard. He cuts through the air with the heaven-slicing blade, screaming in pain, yet pressing forward. His body protests, wounds reopen, blood drips. But Hajin only roars louder. One by one, he drives himself through the 9 forms: the army-slaying blade, the moon-splitting blade, the earth-cleaving blade, the heaven-shattering blade, and last, the blade of final severance, where one cuts both sword and self, transcending flesh and steel. At times his consciousness falters. He faints mid-swing only to be slapped awake by a panicked Ma Seok. Jinmu snarls at him through bleeding lips. Try hitting me like that again, and I'll kill you. Yet, in his heart, he knows this body has an endless path ahead before it can house his true will. In brief flashes, he remembers his old master explaining the true meaning behind the 9 swords. The legacy of a swordsman who had no internal energy but wielded dongong, a simple training method until repetition forged sword aura itself. A million strikes, an invincible blade. Even if the heavens deny me, Jinmu mutters, my sword will cut them down. At dinner, his plate is full of pork. Ma Seok reminds him he ordered meat for strength. Jinmu demands beef from now on, for every meal, without exception. Ma Seok stares in disbelief. His young master, who was once mocked as a useless madman, now devours meat and trains with monstrous iron swords as though he will carve his name into the heavens again. In secret, the elders whisper of fleeing before the duel. Bagseon urges withdrawal, fearing that Jang Daewung will annihilate Jinmu and erase the family entirely. Elder Joe contemplates abandoning the fight, but while schemes brew in the elders' chambers in the training yard, Chun Hajin swings a 66-kilogram iron sword in one hand, his muscles tearing and hardening with every strike. His stance wavers, his blade trembles, but his eyes gleam with fierce, unshakable resolve. The divine demon reborn is not done yet. When his younger siblings approach the yard, he tells them sharply to keep away. It's dangerous. But Suyeon steps forward, eyes filled with guilt. She confesses that the cruel words she once threw at him, that he caused their parents' deaths, were said in anger. She admits she has been worried ever since. For a moment, Jinmu gazes at the 2 children, and in their innocent faces, he sees the shadows of those he once lost in his past life. His anger softens. Smiling faintly, he reassures them both, I'm fine, and I will win. Their younger brother Do-gyeon can barely contain his admiration. With a playful grin, he tries imitating Jinmu's stance, extending his arms just like him. Suyeon immediately scolds him, correcting the form, claiming their brother's reach is longer. Jinmu can't help but chuckle. Watching the siblings imitate him, their clumsy movements awakens an old memory. His master teaching him the breathing technique of the Dao sword style. He recalls the lesson clearly. Long exhale when striking, hold the breath steady, then a slow inhale when returning to stance. The blade was never the true essence, the breathing was. Hajin realizes that in this frail body, he had forgotten the wisdom of his master, and with that, his technique finally begins to connect. Applying those teachings, he practices once more. The slaughter form of the 9 swords flows, and for the first time, his movements harmonize with his breathing. Energy gathers, condenses, and stabilizes. Years of scattered remnants within Jinmu's body now slowly come together. His strikes no longer falter. They carve the air with precision. Elsewhere, Elder Joe grows suspicious of these sudden improvements. Ma Seok whispers about his young master's miraculous changes, but Joe silently wonders if something unnatural fuels them. Later, Ma Seok nearly drops his tray in shock when he sees the training yard obliterated, the ground torn and scarred. At its center stands Jinmu, aura surging, declaring the yard too small, demanding the grand training hall instead. But when he enters the great hall, warriors mock him. A half-dead corpse, one sneers. Just swinging a sword doesn't make you a warrior. Their disdain burns into challenge until Cheol Byeon, captain of the guard, steps forward. Jinmu doesn't back down. If you have objections, speak them to my face. Warriors settle matters through their blades, not whispers. Enraged, Cheol Byeon draws his sword, declaring Jinmu will regret his arrogance. But Jinmu narrows his eyes. Regret is not in my nature. The duel begins. Before the stunned eyes of the clan, Jinmu fights with no sword at all, evading every strike with precise footwork. At last, he calls for a weapon, and when Byeon swings again, Jinmu counters with the extinguishing blow, the second form of the 9 swords. The clash shakes Byeon to his core. His internal energy is rattled. Before he can recover, Jinmu lands a brutal uppercut, declaring, "Everything you said was true, but from now on, things will change." The warriors watch in silence. The mad heir's empty eyes are gone. In their place burns the gaze of a true warrior. Cheol Byeon kneels, bloodied but resolute, admitting defeat. "I've learned something today. From this moment, I serve you." Before suspicious warriors can object, he snaps at them to shut their mouths and acknowledges Jinmu's strength. For the first time in years, the name of the Yumu heir carries weight again. That night, the elders whisper in secrets. Elder Baekseon insists the duel is too dangerous, that the Chunghwa Guild has surely prepared assassins. He urges escape. Elder Joe reflects bitterly on 17 years of protecting a mad heir and watching the clan crumble, convincing himself perhaps their old oath to Jinmu's father no longer binds them. Plans to desert are made. But in his chamber, Jinmu sharpens his resolve. Munching through cheap, leathery cuts of meat, he scolds Ma Seok for complaining. Prepare beef from tomorrow 3 times a day. I'll eat nothing else until the duel. Strength fuels the sword. Days pass. His hands bleed. His body falters. But his blade sharpens. 6 days. 5 days. The duel grows ever closer. The murmurs of betrayal around him grow louder. Yet Jinmu laughs beneath his breath. Betrayal, scheming, debt, assassins. None of it matters. For the divine demon reborn, there's only the blade. And in 1 week, that blade will decide the future of the Yumu clan.